Nicole Strickland. I have been fascinated with the unknown and paranormal realms since childhood. After a profound experience with my grandmother's spirit 20 years ago, I have been on a quest to observe, study, investigate, and communicate with the afterlife and beyond. It's been an ongoing journey of exploration and discovery, one that has taught me how mortality and the spirit world are forever bonded through the veils of time. I'm having some mic issues. Can you guys hear me okay? Pete, can you give me a thumbs up? Okay, good. We've had some storms in the area today, so I was having some computer issues. But anyways, super excited for tonight's show. Hope you guys are doing well. Just a recap of the show before us, Realm of Darkness, my Lord. If you have not listened to that show, it's insane. So Renee and Ashley talked about the McCamey Manor extreme haunted house in Summertown, Tennessee. Oh my gosh, I think there's like a 40-page waiver that you have to sign. I mean, it's like you come out of there and you're supposed to get bruises and broken bones and all kinds of stuff. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm like shaking in my boots here just listening to the show. But it's been archived, so go listen to that if you missed the show. And of course, welcome back to the Afterlife Chronicles, of course, right here on WLTK-DB.com. Glad to see everyone there. Super excited for tonight's show. Of course, I'm your host, Nicole Strickland. If you haven't followed us, just with that handle, WLTK-DB. And then, of course, the Afterlife Chronicles at Afterlife Chronicles and Beyond, and afterlifechronicles.podbean.com. And just a couple of announcements before we bring in tonight's guest, Pete Orbea. We've had him on before. You guys know him of the Paranormal Pete Show, paranormal investigator extraordinaire, psychic medium, you name it. So super excited for that. Just a couple of announcements. So you've all been waiting for it. And Haunted Voices Radio is returning September 16th on Friday nights now, actually at 10 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, and 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 Central, 8 p.m. Pacific. Sorry, I knew I had that wrong. So first guest is Caden Mask, and then after that, we are having Henry San Miguel of the OC Paracon, which leads me right into the next announcement. OC Paracon on October 1st and 2nd. Tickets are still on sale there, ocparacon.com there. And of course, myself and Pete Orbea will be speakers and panelists there. So we're super excited about that. And then, as I mentioned before, I think it was last week, so a little bit of a publishing change in my upcoming book, The Afterlife Chronicles, exploring the connection between life, death, and beyond. So that I'm looking to publish it in December. So I don't have an exact date yet, but sometime in December. So very excited about that. So let's not waste any more time here. Let's go ahead and bring Pete Orbea in. You know him now, psychic medium, director of Poor Gamble Paranormal, tour guide, a host of the amazing show Paranormal Pete. So welcome, Pete. How are you?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here. It's fun to be back on the show. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. You're always welcome. Of course, here I go with my water. Always.
When you were making the announcement about Haunted Voices, I don't know why, but the first thing I thought to do was Frank the Tank.
Right? I know. And then I'm like, I said, wait, 10 p.m. Eastern? That's not right. Oh my gosh. Can I get my time zones right? Oh my gosh. I'm so
Darn time zones
right now. Oh my gosh. And then, so we've had thunderstorms today, and it's like Florida out there. So it's like super hot. So the internet was laggy upstairs. So I'm downstairs, but it's all good. So
nice.
Yes. So we have EVPs tonight, folks. So you have been super generous. I think, what do you have here? Like 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 EVPs. We can definitely get to those. Super excited. I always love when people have audio to play on the shows. I've listened to them, folks. So these are great ones. But I know that you've wanted to talk a little bit about evidence review. So, photography, videography, audio, things like that. We can get into shadow people, apparitions, all of that. So let's just get right into it. So let's get into evidence review. So on your investigations, I think that evidence review, and it's funny how people, I think we're all amateur investigators. I get that. But I find it funny how a lot of the newbies want to come in and it's like, oh, it's all about the investigation. That's it. Just those hours that you're there. And then you forget, the evidence review process is just as important, if not more important, than the investigation itself.
Yeah.
So, what are some of your processes that you use for reviewing evidence and documentation as well?
Well, it kind of varies from investigation to investigation, but that's kind of the name of the game, right?
Yep.
Each investigation's different. You can set up, the same controls mostly in any investigation, but it all kind of varies. And I like how you set it up there. And this is, part of a presentation I'll be doing at the OC Paracon, and I think it's really important to talk about this part of it because human nature, we want to do things exciting, and that's the investigation part, right? It's like I could do that all the time. That's so fun. But then you're like, oh, wait, how many hours of audio? How many hours of video? Uh oh.
I know.
And I got to go to work on Monday. Uh oh. Right.
Right, right. And especially if you have more than one case in a month, it's like, okay, we got to get this information to the clients. My
Right.
goodness, I have
Right.
16 hours of audio and all these photos to go through. But
Right.
like you
Yeah.
said, it's the name of the game.
Yeah. And, we all love the exciting part. And I guess to answer your question, as far as processes, well, if you do some things during your investigation, it's going to make the evidence analysis and data review a lot easier in the
Right.
long run. So, meaning note taking, that's if you, so during the exciting part in the investigation, if you take really good notes, whether it's written, I don't know if you can write in the dark. I can't. I try, but I
I can't
usually,
ride either, and
yeah.
even in the light. So,
Yeah. The best thing is like if you have two audio devices or more, you can set one or more, in a static location, but then you can carry one with you for your notes. And you just say everything and you timestamp, let's say you thought you heard a voice, at 9:31 p.m. Well, if you say it on your recording, you've got it noted. So when you're reviewing audio, you can go to all your other audio devices and check at that 9:31, and you can see if anything was captured there. So note taking is the first process, and then the second process is especially if you're on a team. This is more like, if it's more than one person, which really you shouldn't be investigating by yourself anyways, but for more people, assign the roles for a review of what people like to do.
that is a good point because people do not want to be pigeonholed, so I think, that's a good point because some teams will just assign, and let's say your specialty isn't audio and it's
Yeah.
more in the videography, well, obviously that person's going to be more comfortable with that. So that's a good point.
Yeah, and I think it's something that can be missed, when you're assigning things, and I hate video review. I don't like
I
video
don't
review. So
I don't either.
if I'm on a team, right? If I'm on a team and it's like, and I keep getting assigned, the video review, well, I'm going to get complacent about it
Mhm.
probably because I don't like it in the first place. And then I'm probably increase the chances of missing something.
Right.
So I like to do audio. I really like audio review.
Me too.
So, if you assign me to do audio review, I'm into it. I'm passionate about it. I'm going to listen carefully. I'm going to, you know, really scrutinize things. And so that's another process of just getting the team roles established for who's doing what kind of review. And then, um, the third big thing, I guess, about it is peer review. After you do your initial data review, so, peer review, with your team, and then maybe externally as well, if you can, if you have the resources, get things peer reviewed, and then reporting is kind of the last process of it. How do you report what you found, especially if you're working with a client, right? You know, somebody at a residential house, you want to be able to report it in a way that's succinct and but has some context, and that it makes sense to the client. you know
Right, right. Excellent point. What are your thoughts on, because I know everyone's different and everyone, has their own opinions and ways of doing things. So do you I kind of how I label it is objective data, if you will, if you want to use that word, is something like, okay, if it's something maybe you saw, maybe you heard a word or a disembodied voice, or let's say something that you can objectively report, versus something more like subjective, like maybe an intuitive impression or something like that. Do you have a certain protocol with that? Like, do you tell people, like, if it's intuitive, or if it's a psychically inclined impression, to note it down on paper and share later, or are you okay with that person sharing as the investigation is going?
Again, I think it depends on the investigation. If it's a historical location and a client isn't involved, I think it's maybe o- more okay to share information as you go along.
I agree.
But if you're working with a client, and especially if they're there with you, they're probably observing the investigators. And so if you can keep, tight controls, for personal experiences or psychic experiences, trying and keep some controls, I think that will lend to more credibility when you report to the client any findings. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's why I asked it. That's what we do as well. And I think there are little subtle differences between a historical case and like a private residence or a business case.
Yeah.
So, and I've been on a couple of cases where, as a guest on private residence investigations, and it was interesting on a couple of these where there were some people almost leading the homeowner, and so kind of just not commiserating with her, but just kind of lending that power of suggestion to the homeowner. So that's, in my opinion, you want to avoid that and just be, objective about it all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's something I, honestly learned from experience, from sharing things in front of the client, and then they really go, "Oh, whoa," they were, and that can skew things. And so I kind of, had to, hindsight was 2020, you know,
yeah,
after the, investigation, and as I went on, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, if the client's there, you know, try and just write everything down. Or if you're doing vocal logs, wait, go in another room or something,
right.
to
Absolutely.
say stuff. Yeah.
Syncing up the time, like you said, is very important.
Hmm.
Like if you're starting your audio, you're going to obviously notate the time you're going to start it, but also notate that recorder time as well.
Yeah.
So then in the review, you can go back and say, oh, okay, well, yeah, like at 9:31 p.m., we had this experience and whatnot. So, and that's interesting. I can't wait to hear your talk at the OC Paracon. So your talk is primarily going to be on the documentation and the evidence review, right?
Evidence review. Yeah. So it'll kind of get into, some different things you might come across with audio or photos or video. What do you do with it? Um, and just like the labeling and the reporting. And a lot of it's stuff I learned from other investigators,
Right, me
like,
too.
who have really good established scientific method in what they do. And it's, just being able to learn that and then share it is, I hope people like it. It sounds boring. you know, on the face value, it sounds kind of boring.
It's fun. I know, no, but it is fun though once you get into it. And I'm like you, I prefer audio over video. I mean, if obviously there is video to review, it's going to get reviewed, and the photos are going to get reviewed as well. But that
Yeah.
there's something about audio. It's just, I can't wait to just dive in and all of that. So specifically about that, let's say you're, or with any evidence review, but let's just go with audio since you prefer it. Do
Yeah.
you have a preference as to when you start reviewing it? So let's say you have an investigation on Saturday night. Do you start the next day, or do you prefer to wait a few days and just let things settle? What's your process for that?
Well, I think, and In my case, it's more of when can I do it? um,
Yeah,
what do I have going on? Uh, I almost never like review stuff the next day, so it's always a few days to a week later, then you start get into it.
let it
Um,
settle. You're not comatose on the couch after investigating all night long. So,
and then have like 8 hours of audio or something, because 8 hours of audio would be 16 hours of review. So have you found that for audio, for every 1 hour, it's 2 hours
oh,
for a review?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and it's so funny because sometimes I can sit there for 20 minutes, and then other times I can sit there for an hour. But I think breaks are important, and I fail at that because I'm just one of these, like, I wanna get into it, and before you know it, I'm there sitting there 3 hours. I'm like, "Geez, I haven't even taken a break yet."
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, so
That's
if
a good
you
point. Pace
yeah,
yourself. Pace yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, definitely, pace yourself. So if you had, let's say a beginner investigator join you on, let's say, let's pick a historical case, and let's say this person was with you, teamed up with you for the night. What are like the top 5 things you would want this beginner investigator to know after that investigation?
After the investigation?
Or during. Actually, after is not right. It'd be maybe before, during, and after. Let's do that. Let's
Okay.
do the whole gamut
Top
there.
5 things I would want them to know.
Top 100
Uh,
things. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
would want them to know their intention, I guess would be number 1. And I would want them to uh, have something to take notes with, vocal or notebook.
That good little notepad
Um,
comes in handy, folks.
I would want them to be open-minded, to possibly experiencing something, possibly not. Could go either way. So would want them to be open-minded to things. And number 4, I would want them to be, uh, I guess, aware. Um, have investigation awareness. Be quiet when someone's doing an audio session. Don't walk around too much if you don't have to. Situational awareness, I guess. And number 5, um, have fun.
There you go. See, and you know what I like about your answers is they were not all investigative related. So you're getting into almost the foundation of an investigator. So, intent is very important here. That's that, the have fun, be aware. These are all like foundational, qualities of an investigator. So I like that. All this other stuff can come later. You can learn how to review audio. You can learn the processes of an EVP
Yeah.
session, but having that just foundate those foundational traits, super, super
Yeah.
cool.
And if you're newer at it, like, you don't know what kind of investigator you are.
Right.
You don't know yet. So that's
Yeah,
why the open mind, that's kind of why I thought of that, because you don't know what kind of investigator you're going to be. And like you said, things can come later. Well, yeah, you'll niche down
yeah,
on, the more you do it, and then you'll kind of figure out what kind of investigator you are. Because I think there's different kinds of investigators, right?
I
We're
do
all,
too.
so you kind of take some time to figure out. But yeah, if you're newer, you don't know who you are yet as an investigator into this world.
Into this world of the
And I'm still
paranormal.
learning. I'm
I
still
I
learning,
was just gonna say, me too. I always like, there's always like a gazillion things I learn on every case. I almost
Yeah,
still think like I'm a beginner. I mean, I think I feel like we all are in some cases, even though we've been doing it for a while. There's
yeah,
always something to learn. So,
yeah.
but speaking of cases, have you gotten any new cases lately, or any fun cases that you've done recently that you would like to talk about?
Well, I didn't really take anything on during COVID, and
Me too. Yep.
so I've just been kind of focused here in Port Gamble. I've had a couple opportunities, but just haven't been able to
Yeah.
nail it down. So, um, more or less just continuing the research here in Port Gamble, and continuing on at the Walker Ames house, and having personal experiences on the tours, and the public investigations. So that's been fun. It keeps you sharp.
Absolutely. And I think it's great that, you have this one location, or I mean, it's not just, I mean, it is a location,
Super
but there's
lucky.
and I've been there. I've been there once. I can't even believe it. I can't wait to go back. It's truly an iconic town. It's truly amazing. And not only do you have the Walker
Yeah.
Ames, but there's so many different locations within this town that are just not only historic, but
Yeah.
just truly, truly amazing in terms of, having a lot of paranormal activity. So with your tours, and I know a lot of listeners already know about your tours, know about Port Gamble, but if let's say there are a few that don't, so your tours, talk a little bit about those and like
Mhm.
where you take people during the
Yeah.
tour around the town, like what they can expect.
Well, the tours are 3 hours long. It sounds like, oh my gosh, 3 hours.
By
But
fast.
it takes, yeah. I rarely get done right at 3 hours. It's usually 3 hours and 10 minutes or 15 minutes. There's just so much material to cover. So my tour starts. For those that don't know, it's an old sawmill town. It's one of Washington State's oldest towns, founded in 1853. And our oldest house here is 1859. The newest house is 1919. And so it's a really interesting place. It's like going back in time into a town in Maine, driving through here. So the tour starts in the historic museum here, and it's the whole tour in general, I guess, is it's a history tour because there's a lot of interesting history about the people and the buildings and the town. But it's not just a history tour because there's tons of experiences that I talk about and share, and I try and share a lot of my own experiences that I've had. Um, and because I was there, and I can
Yes, you
talk
were.
about it. And so and then we end up with we go to the post office building and the cemetery. And then we end up with about an hour or so in the Walker Ames house and take everybody through it. And what you can expect is I don't know what you can expect. You can expect possibly some activity to happen, on the tour. That happens pretty frequently. Um, but you can expect 3 hours of history and ghost stories and a lot of laughs. So,
That is right up my alley. That's how I would wanna spend my afternoon or evening, let me tell you. So
yeah,
what are the most common reports from your, attendees that they have? Are any I'm kinda going with, are there any patterns with
sure.
what people are reporting?
Voices, female voices, more specifically,
Wow.
and footsteps and hair pulling, touching. Um, but it's mostly audible type stuff. So footsteps and voices is frequently what happens, and occasionally someone. Earlier this year, I had somebody on an investigation, which is like the tour, but it's all in the Walker Ames house, and we go through the whole house. And this poor lady had her hair lifted straight out and
Oh
pulled
my
tight.
gosh.
Yeah, and so that was cool to experience that. Probably not for her. I think she it freaked her out, but
Literally, it went
uh,
up, like, and stayed up there like that?
yeah, it had some slack in it, and then it went straight. And she had just thought prior to that she had felt her hair get pulled, and so we were doing all the things, checking the area, looking above us, below us, is there any wires, spider webs, anything that could have caught her hair. And then I had her kind of, move her head around to see if her hair would get caught on her coat at
Oh,
all, or
that's a good
any
point.
zipper or anything. And as soon as she stopped doing that, then about an almost an inch thick swath of her hair went up in a group like this, and then went, psh, and
Oh
she
my
freaked out.
gosh.
She freaked out when she saw my reaction and the guy standing next to me, because our eyes got huge, like,
I can
whoa.
imagine. Oh my, that's a similar experience, and I'll keep this short, on the Queen Mary. I wasn't there, but it was down in my friend Pat Wheelock used to run tours on the ship. Down in the forward cargo hold pit, he was leading a tour down there. Similar thing. This woman had her hair in a ponytail, and there was a strand that apparently like went up by itself and like what stood straight up, and he did the same thing you did. He was checking for wires, anything that she could have done to cause it. Nothing.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, that's like insane. That's an insane amount of energy. My gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was a good one. But that we're lucky that that kind of stuff, the long-term residents there do interact. So
And are you finding that so a lot of the energies at the Walker Ames may travel to other areas of Port Gamble and vice versa? Is it a mix where it's
Mhm.
just it's not like okay, there's certain energies at the Walker Ames and then there's certain groups at the cemetery. It's like they all kind of like mix in with each other.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of that going on. I think one of the most frequently heard residents of the home is possibly from a house across the street, but comes over to the Walker Ames house. I don't know why. I just have keep. That's just what I've thought the last few years. Like I just feel like I know it. Like this has to be how it is. So, but I think they do. I think they can move in and out. It seems like based on reports from other teams and people on tours, it does seem like occasionally in that house there's something that doesn't belong. There's someone that's eh, I shouldn't say the word vagrant, but it's like a vagrant spirit stopping there and then it goes somewhere else. Um, that seems to happen there, at least, um, it's never been proven, but it's what it seems like.
Yeah, you have to trust your intuition on that. I think, there's some people feel that, earthbounds or ghosts, if you will, are stuck and can't travel. But yet, I mean, I've had a lot of experiences that suggest that they can.
Hmm.
So, that's why I was asking you. And it's interesting to kind of note those patterns, looking at what people are reporting and when they're reporting it, if anything new is happening, things like that. So when you are have the ability to research one location, not just historically, but paranormal wise, I mean, over so many years, like yourself with Port Gamble, it's, not too many people have that opportunity. And so there comes a difference between an investigation and a case study. And I'm
Hmm.
just of the personal opinion that case studies, I think, lend more because you have obviously more time spent at that location and not many
Hmm.
people get that option. So it's more like a
Yeah,
case study for you.
I'm super lucky to be able to research that place.
Absolutely. What about visual sightings there?
Hmm.
Apparition, shadow energies, things like that.
Yep, I've physically ran into something but didn't see it, so that wasn't visual. I guess more physical.
Oh,
One
I think I
time,
remember you talking about that.
yeah. A few years ago, had a I don't know if I can say full-bodied apparition, but it was an apparition. Um, I couldn't see the whole. I didn't see the whole body, but it happened fairly quick. But there was some people and I doing a tour in the Walker Ames house, and the whole group was opposite of me in this front kind of greeting foyer there, and we had the lights off because ghosts don't come out in the light. Um, and I was just talking about the history of the place and starting to share some stories, and we heard kind of like what sounded like a foot drag on the floor behind me, and so natural instinct is to turn and see what's there. And so I turned with my flashlight, and there was a woman there, and she had like brown hair that was looked kind of messed up a little bit. I don't know if it was a style or what, but she just appeared to be looking straight ahead, like out the front windows, is the direction she was looking. But we then all gasped as a group,
I
took a deep
imagine
breath,
so. My goodness.
and then she was gone. She was just gone. And so leaving, we all walked through the hallway that she seemed to come out of, and it just, I mean, it felt like thick spider webs. Like it felt like walking through jello through that hallway. And it's like super thick and everything. Um, so I don't know who she is. It happened fast. everybody seemed to see her. Everybody said they saw her.
That's
Just
phenomenal when you can have a
as I
group
did.
sighting like that.
And when I immediately started like replaying it in my head, the one thing I noticed was when my flashlight got her right in the eyeballs, just it happened to be how I turned, and there was no reaction at all to that. There was no blink or flinch, and it was just straight. And then we all gasped, and then she was gone. That was really cool.
Yeah, it almost, I mean, yeah, no, I mean, to have a group sighting like that where everyone sees it at the same time,
Yeah.
that's insane. It almost sounds like maybe residual in that case. I
Yeah,
don't know. I mean, I wasn't there, so
it could have been. Yeah, it could have been something like that because she didn't seem to react to us at all, and then she was
right.
just poof, just gone. Um, I had another one that's intrigued me for this happened in last year, and I was at the Walker Ames house. It was about 10 at night, and I was waiting for some investigators to stop by. They wanted to do a quick investigation, and so I was down there. It was like 10 at night, and nobody else in town. So if you've ever been here late at night, there's nothing going on. So it was my car on the street, and pre-COVID, the general store building here would be open later and into the evening. And so oftentimes my ghost walks get over at 10, and maybe the guys are bringing out the garbage and closing up and leaving for the night around that time. So over time we would say, "Hey, it's me down here," so that they wouldn't get freaked out. And we know that someone's there. I didn't want them getting freaked out if someone in the Walker Ames house and they're like, "Oh, is it a ghost?" So we would just say "Hey, it's me," or "Hey, I'm down here," sort of thing. So that was like pre-COVID, and kind of post-COVID, they've been closed earlier. So you would not likely see anybody coming out of there around 10 p.m. at night.
Right.
So I had forgot something in my car. I walked down the back ramp on the house there, and I turned 90 degrees to walk down the rest of the ramp to the sidewalk. And as I made that turn, I heard the general store front door shut
Wow.
pretty loud. And so I looked down there, and there was a guy walking out, and he had a white shirt on and light brown pants. I thought it was real. He looked like a real person. And we got to the sidewalk just about at the same time. And I turned to say, "Hey, it's me." And as soon as I started to talk, he was stepping over a big curb and just gone.
Wow.
And so then I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, no kidding.
So I did walk down there and walked around the corner of the building, and there were no cars, nobody getting in a car, leaving. There was just no cars anywhere. Nobody. I could find anybody. So I'm thinking I might have seen something there, because the guy looked dark hair, kind of, olive complexion, and just walked out kind of the same time I was going down, and we both got to the sidewalk, and then he just disappeared.
Just like that. Like just quick.
Yeah.
Did he disappear into like a mist, or just completely disappear?
Just poof, gone.
Wow, that's insane. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love hearing these stories. This is phenomenal stuff right here. On that note, though, we have to take our one and only break for the night. Of course, you're tuning into the Afterlife Chronicles with special guest Pete Orbea of the Paranormal Pete Show. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
This is Patty Negri.
Hi, I'm Pete Orbea.
Hi, this is Nicole Strickland.
My name is Hero.
My name is Sean Clem.
Hey everybody, Cleet Keith here, author of Ghost of Greystone Beverly Hills,
I'm excited to invite you to the OC Paracon, which is going to be the first week in October.
Now that's just some of the people you're going to meet at Orange County Paracon. That would be Anaheim's first ever paranormal conference. I'm Henry, the organizer and also the host of Paranormal Perception, inviting you to meet those people that you just saw. You'll meet everybody, including some guests, some people that we haven't even announced on the website. It's going to be a surprise. Everything, info, tickets available on that website, ocparacon.com. Hope to see you to kick off our favorite time of the year in Anaheim at OC Paracon.
"35 minutes past the hour." Of course, you're tuning right back into the Afterlife Chronicles right here on WLTK-DB network.com. Network.com. Oh my gosh, what a brain. WLTK-DB.com, folks. Okay, that is the website. My goodness. Hello there. So if you missed the first half, don't worry, it'll be archived for you. Tonight we have a special guest, Pete Orbea, on. We've had a great discussion, some good pointers on documentation and evidence review during paranormal investigation, some of his experiences on his tours in Port Gamble and out of and the Walker Ames house. I can't talk tonight. You know what? I might as well just end the show right now. No,
it's the storms.
It's the storms. They're messing with me because we don't usually get lightning here, folks. See what it does to our brains in San Diego? My goodness. Anyways, enough about that. And another thing too, I'm usually pretty good with the comments and I totally blanked. There's some people in comments here. Nikki's joining us. Nice to see you, Nikki. Candy says, "Hi, Pete." I'm so sorry about this, folks. Linda, nice to see you there. Oh my gosh, let's see you. Sharon, hi, everyone. Let's see here. Great comments here. I'm just going to say this one because it's long and it's awesome. Nikki says, "Robin and I were investigating with a group in the theater during a passport gamble. I can't talk. Ghost conference. We used a spirit box to ask how many people are in here with us tonight. And the box said 9. Oh, that's awesome. After doing a quick head count, there were only 7 of us there that we could see." Ooh, interesting. We have Henry. Hi, Henry. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot to flash all these comments. Great. So sorry about that, folks. My goodness, it just dawned on me like, whoa, there's 15 comments in here. Okay. Anyways. Okay. So we have some EVPs tonight. So yeah, I love it. So you have been gracious to send us some EVPs. And so there are 6 here. So I'm hoping we can get to all of them. Let's see. I have Annabelle queued up here as well at first. Now, are all of these EVPs or are some of them disembodied voices?
So I've been playing these ones for a while, so I'm sure some people have heard a couple of these. There's some that most people haven't heard, but so the Annabelle one and another child one is actually all 3 that I sent from Port Gamble were disembodied voices and happened to catch it.
Wow.
And the other ones were all EVP.
Awesome. So would you prefer just to play it once and then you talk about it, or do you want to set it up first? What are your preferences on that?
We can play it and then we can talk about it.
All right, let's go do that. Let's play Annabelle.
Annabelle.
So that was really cool. That's my probably the best one I'll ever get. Hopefully not, but maybe. So I was with Olympic Peninsula Paranormal Society, and we were investigating the Walker Ames house. And you hear investigator Mary Bethune on there, and she had heard a voice downstairs, which I ended up getting on my audio device. She heard it. Nobody else did. So we had gone up to the second floor, and some of the team had broken off to do a ghost box session, and then the rest of us kind of went up at the top of the main staircase, which seems like that's that's where the action's at.
Right. Right.
So Mary was asking questions, and then this voice responded once, and then she asked him the next question, what's your name? And then that was the response. So we got two answers, direct answers to questions, and it was disembodied. And man, it felt like an explosion of energy through the hallway when the voice came out. It was like, oof, punch to the gut type feeling.
Amazingly clear. And I imagine that's Mary confirming that at the end. You hear
She's repeating what
Annabelle.
she heard.
Right, right. Oh my gosh. Let's play
And
that one more time just
yeah.
because it's really awesome.
Annabelle.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Sounds like a young, very young
Mhm.
girl, in my opinion. That's
Yeah.
phenomenal. That's truly phenomenal.
Yeah. And she's a frequent flyer at the house. So
Have you figured out historically who she may be?
not yet.
Not yet. So that's in
I
process.
have found some Annabelles, but the time period did not make sense to me, because it was either way before that house was built, and I don't believe there was a house in its place before that. So the time based on the year of the census, because I've had census records I can look through,
Right.
and it just didn't make sense. So I'm still looking. I'm still trying to figure it out. But I think she's from the house across the street. That's the one that I just believe she's not from that house. She's from a different house, but she comes over there.
Comes over there. I wonder if there's maybe other child energies there that she, connects with, or another, even an adult spirit that maybe she connects to.
Yeah.
Now, I had the fortunate opportunity to visit the Walker Ames house in 2000. I think it was 2017 during the Port Gamble conference. Truly amazing. But I immediately sensed a female child energy. I don't know if it's the same one, but
Yeah, probably.
truly cool. Yeah, I apologize. We have a clock that's chiming, so try to ignore that if you can. But let's move on here. You have, I guess, the second one labeled GB, a lady.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and play that, and then you can talk about it.
Sure.
Wow.
Okay. So
Wow.
that was the first response we got before Annabelle. And so I think Mary had asked, well, who are you? And she responded with a lady. Now you do hear some of us investigators, just there's a couple of little chatter things, and then you can hear the ghost box quite a ways away. And I think it's doing a sweep. And so I think it sounds kind of like R2D2 to me.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think it's because it was further away from my audio device and more area to echo.
Right.
But the voice seemed to come from the same place at the top of the stairs, and it's to me sounds like the same voice as Annabelle. So
Yeah, Nikki just said that too. It sounds like the same voice. It does sound very similar. Same
yeah,
age bracket too, I would say.
yep.
Let's go ahead and play that again. Phenomenal captures.
So yeah. So I was also going to add that I believe it was Neil McNeil told me that he may have, or I think it was Neil. And if it's not Neil, I'm sorry, but that somebody had gotten someone who had referred to themselves as the lady in that house before. And so
Oh.
I think that's pretty interesting, but I think that was reported as like an older female voice. So is it the same person at different ages? I don't know. or is there two people saying they're the lady?
All these questions, but it's
Yeah.
great because once you answer one or think you do, there's more that occur there with questions. But that's the fun of
Yeah.
it, folks, trying
Yeah.
to figure it out.
Yeah.
Phenomenal captures. Okay, so let's move on here. The next one I have in queue is clip 18. Who's here? You
Yep.
can go ahead and
I'll set this one up because this is
yeah, go
not
for it.
Port Gamble. This
Uh,
is not Port Gamble. This is in a town near Port Gamble called Kingston, and it's at the schoolhouse. There's an old schoolhouse that is still there, and you'll hear. I think somebody was reading off. One of the investigators was reading off EMF readings from the millimeter because it was starting to, do some things. And then you'll hear Mary Bethune. I was investigating with her again. You'll hear her ask a question, simple question. And it's one of the best audio session questions you can ask. And there's a response.
can't wait to hear it. Play that one more time. Do you mind?
I love that one. What do you think it said?
I listened to these earlier today. Now, of course, I wasn't there, but what my ears are hearing, I hear Delilah, but that's just what I hear.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I just because I hear those three. At least my ears are picking up those three syllables. That's what I hear. But
Yeah, what I heard and kind of what other people heard too was, "I am," and she says.
oh,
So, can we play that one more time? It's a female voice. So,
right.
was it a teacher? I don't know.
Could very well be. Wow. And I don't know what your thoughts are. I always, I have this theory that, there could be maybe an energy has this ability to answer in different words. So some people may hear one thing, another group may hear another, but maybe they're both right because maybe that's the energy's way of being able to impart different answers. I
Totally.
don't know. Just a
Yeah.
weird theory of mine.
That's
Oh wow,
possible.
so this was great. So in Kingston, right? So one
Yep.
of the what was the name of the schoolhouse again?
I don't know if I should say it.
Oh, okay. No. Yeah, no, never mind. No, if it's confidential, yeah, no. All right. So we have a few more here. Let's go with clip 16. Gosh, can I read my writing here? It's clip 16. Is it? Oh gosh, I can't read my lights.
Is a lady singing?
Lady singing. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it's that
Same
one.
place, same location.
Same place. Okay.
This was straight up EVP, and what you hear is me and the other investigators leaving the second floor and going down to the first floor, and I left my audio device upstairs in a room. So
Wow.
can we play it again?
Wow.
I don't know what it says, but it sounds
Yeah, I
like
was just gonna
some sort of
ask you.
singing. Yeah,
Wow.
the first two vocalizations or whatever, I have no clue what it would say. It just sounds like a noise, like a and then the last one, I don't know if it's a word, but it's definitely sounds kind of like a singing sort of da-da-da-da. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my God, these are great. Wow. Okay, so clip 21, slippery pig, I think
Yeah.
gosh, my writing is bad. My goodness. Should have been a doctor. Hello.
This one does may contain some profanity from the other side. It was none of
Yeah,
us
this
and
is the
nobody in the
one.
bar.
Yep, this is the one I was wanting to ask you about when I
Yeah.
heard it. Because
So if you don't like profanity, you may want to plug your ears. So if we could play that one more time, we'll talk about
wow.
it. So this is at a brewery in Paulsbo, and we were doing a special Halloween, like October sort of event there, and actually I caught a few things there. This clip is just super interesting to me because there were customers at this place. It was open. And I'd say there was probably 20 plus people in there at the time. So it was like open and everything. When that particular instance happened, I was sitting at a table. It was relatively quiet. There were just people having conversations. And when I listened back, that stuck out to me because it sounds like somebody yells, "Hey, hello," or "Hey, you," or something. And then it says, "Get the F out."
Yes, that was clear. I heard that.
And then there's some tapping, pounding. That is probably from the bar. So I don't think that that's anything paranormal. But what tripped me up on this one, nobody reacted. You hear nobody go like, "Geez," or like, "Hey, whoa, what's wrong with?" Because, if somebody's in there and yelling that, somebody's going to probably, sitting around me, or, what somebody's going to be like, "Geez," or you'll hear everyone stop talking for a second. You would
Exactly.
hear everyone be like, "Yikes,"
Yeah. No
conversation
kidding.
would stop, but it didn't. It just carried on like nothing, like it wasn't even there. And we did seem to pick up on a male spirit that maybe wasn't that happy there.
Right.
Or maybe I don't know, he's telling us to get out, but I just thought it was awesome. And then the more I listened to it, I was like, I think he's saying get the F out.
That was clear, the hello and then that, absolutely. Did you well, of course you did. Any historical research that suggests a background that would kind of correlate with that?
So I believe there was a gentleman who had died just outside of the location.
Okay.
Some stuff fell over on him.
Oh no.
There's also just half a block up the street, a person had committed suicide right in the middle of what is now an intersection, and this is a long time ago, because Posebo is pretty old too,
Right.
and it was from a long time ago. There's somebody with very involved in the town and everything had committed suicide. And so there were, a few things where like the stuff falling over on a guy in the alleyway. I'd have to go back for my notes, but I think that's what it was. Is somebody had died back there.
That's why I asked you, because when I heard it earlier, I almost got like a sense of danger. Like when I was listening to it, that something was happening.
Yeah.
Something dangerous, like they were trying to warn. I don't know, but oh wow, that's tragedy.
Yeah, so one funny thing that happened with that one real quick. Nikki had mentioned the ghost box asking how many people were there, and it gave a number. So we tried that there, and we had done a head count and then asked the question, and it gave us one less. And we're like, "Oh, it's wrong. It's wrong." And then we started looking around again. One of the people in the room stepped out.
Oh my
Before
gosh. See
before it gave an answer. And then we were like, "What?"
what? I mean, they're more on the mark than you guys are. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Yeah, I
I'm
guess
totally
so.
kidding. I'm
Yeah.
kidding. Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah, that one, when I heard that one really got, I not the heebie-jeebies, but I felt a lot of energy to that one.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so we have one more. I think it's clip 2 GB again.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and
Pete.
then there's a name, of course, but yeah, so we'll play that one.
Live across the street? Did you live across the street?
So
Wow.
that's an interesting one to me, uh, because I think it came from within the room. Um, and so was doing an audio session with the ghost box, and I was trying to ask for Annabelle, and I was trying to ask her, "Did you live across the street?" Well, then this other thing answered, and so when I've done audio sessions with the ghost box and I'm asking yes and no questions, I always ask that if somebody's going to answer me, they need to say my name along with their answer so I know they're talking to me
Right.
and not somebody else. And so that was a good example of I asked a question with my rules that I'd set beforehand and got a response. But it doesn't seem to be Annabelle. It seems to be more of a male voice.
Absolutely. I mean, very, very clear. These are super, super clear
Yeah.
captures.
Thanks.
So
Yeah, and I don't
yeah.
know. Again, I don't know if that one was from the device, the Ghostbox device, or if it was just in the room. I honestly can't tell.
Yeah, we've had that happen too, where you'll get an EVP above the scanning of the actual the device. So
Yeah,
happens, but this is amazing. These were absolute fantastic captures. Thank you so much for sharing them. Thank you so
of
much for
course.
coming on the show. Who do you have coming up on your show on Tuesday next week?
I'm off. I'm taking
Oh,
a
good for
break.
you. All
So
right.
I'm on a break for August, but I'm going to be back in September with Jeff Davis, historian Jeff Davis, and I'm going to have some friends on the show with it. Have some really interesting possible Sasquatch calls, and it's not confirmed yet, but I've got some other exciting guests. So as soon as I get those booked, I'll be putting it out there.
That's amazing. Yeah, I have Jeff and the cast of the Alaskan Killer Bigfoot on let's see,
Perfect.
August 25th. So yeah, Jeff wanted to come on the show. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So I'm really excited about that. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. Enjoy your vacation this month, and then of course we'll be excited to have you back in September. So there you
Okay.
have it. Everyone,
Thanks.
Pete Orbea, it's always a great time
Thank you.
with him. Absolutely. Great discussion. Just an all around great person, great investigator, great radio host, psychic medium, you name it. So I hope everyone
Checks in the
has.
mail. Checks in the mail, Nicole.
No, it's all good. Okay, never mind. All right, I'll take the 100. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, so hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. So, coming up next is Kenneth Drake's Voices of the Dead with horror icon Eileen Dietz. So, really looking forward to that. So, you're going to want to tune into that at 10 p.m. Eastern right after this show. Again, I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. I mean, not weekend. And the next week we have Mary Bethune and Linda Myers on. So, all right, folks, that will do it for tonight. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next week. Good night.